Hi guys, I'm going to show you how to do a swirl design. So I've got my mani mostly done. It's ready for a swirl or two. So I'm going to actually do this a couple different ways. The first one, I'm actually going to attempt to draw the swirl. I don't normally do it this way, but I have in my mind that I want a really a smaller swirl. So I'm going to just take my base and by smaller I mean not as wide, a skinnier swirl. So I'm going to just draw it on here as best I can. And try to make sure that it's still wet. Okay, and then I'm going to take my glitter, and I am very right hand dominant, so I'm going to scoop with my right and then transfer because that's usually easiest for me. And then I'm literally going to take this and dump it over. So my hope is that I'll get a lot of those really, really fine glitters that are in this dip. Yes, that is what I wanted. Okay. So I'm going to kind of dust off and see. Yeah. Okay. So you can see that I've got all those little fine glitters in there. Then what I'm going to do is I am going to actually, I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to use, sorry, I'm getting another cupcake liner. I usually just dump it out on my mat, but I'm not going to do that this time because then my mat gets really dirty. So I'm going to dump out, and I want to get, there's some little blue stars that I want to grab, and a big blue star. I kind of want one more, two, let's see. Yeah, that's probably good. All right, so I've kind of sprinkled it out there. You can see, kind of got it spread out a little bit. And then next I'm going to grab an orange stick that has, so I keep this orange stick. It's got a glob on the end of it. It is my glitter grabber, I guess. I should like write that on there or something to be funny. Anyway, so now I'm going to come back in and I'm going to add little dots where I want those stars. And I'm kind of making them random. I'm going to start there and then work my way up. So then I just dip it in, grab a star in theory. So these are pretty thick glitters. I'm probably going to have to add more base. So that they aren't, I'm going to have to encapsulate these quite a bit, just FYI. I will do my very best. Try to get this little purple star here. Well, they're not wanting to pick up. Okay. And a little blue star. How about a silver? Oh, I don't have more. Sorry. I actually kind of want, though, a thicker chunk of glitter right there, and maybe a few more of these. So I'm literally just eyeballing it. Kind of trying to see what looks best to me. And you can do the same. Okay, and I'm going to add some more. I'm going to leave that thin part alone because I sort of like that. But then I'm going to come in and add, let me try to get a couple stars there and one here. So again, it's just eyeballing it. I do it by preference. So whatever looks best. I might actually do this really big chunker. You know, because you always need a big chunker on your nail. I'm going to do the silver one up here. And then I think I might add some finer glitter in there as well. But I don't want to go too crazy because I don't want to sometimes I overdo it. Add that there. That little blue one. Well, where'd he go? There he is. All right, so I'm going to actually leave it like that. Pretty straightforward though. I mean, I like using that word. I literally went in, right, and drew that squiggle, swirl, whatever you want to call it. And that's where my glitter went. And then I hand placed the chunkier ones because typically when you do a pour over, the big ones don't tend to stick well. I don't know why that is. They just don't. So right now I'm just going in and kind of filling in the gaps so that it's not, so I can get a decently smooth mani since these are a little thicker. The stars are pretty thick. So I'm going to put this base on and let it dry. And then while that's drying, I'm going to move on. You can go ahead and dip in clear. So Everly, these are Everly colors too, by the way, but Everly's clear is really clear. So you could get by, I'm probably going to do 1 or 2 coats of clear on top of this. You could probably get by and it be crystal clear. I'm going to let this just air dry and then do the clear on top. I don't really have a rhyme or reason why I wouldn't go ahead and encapsulate 3 times, but anyway, this is what I'm doing. So I also wanted to do one on my middle finger, but I didn't, although I do really like that. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that same. I was gonna show you a different design or a different way of doing it where you put base over your whole nail and then you pour your design. So you get a wider swirl. It's a lot more random, but I actually really like this tight design. So we're gonna do that again. I think I'll start here. And I'm very, like I said, right hand dominant. So it's kind of a tricky thing to do with my left hand. And even harder to do it while I'm talking. I don't know that I like that. Anyway, we'll go with that. We'll go with it. I think it'll be okay. So I'm going to try to shake some of these to the top and then just pour it on. Pour some sugar on me just popped in my head because I'm random. I mean, I am pouring glitter on my nails, so it's not totally random. But it's kind of random. Okay, I'm gonna move that guy, and I am gonna, it looks like I got a little on my cuticle up here, so I'm just gonna go through with my non-glitter grabber orange stick and just clear that cuticle line. carefully. The right hand's always just a little not as crisp as my left because my left hand's a little shaky. It's got to get with the program here. So I kind of want, well, if I come, it was kind of looking like a 3, and I don't want the 3 look. So I'm thinking if I kind of do a little blip blip, then it'll, you know, blip blip's the official term for whatever that is. There we go. And my left hand is so special I can hardly even pour the glitter. Oh, yes. There we go. Okay. My favorite brush is starting to shed, and I don't know. Okay, nothing's stuck right there. Why is that? I'm going to just do that. Hey, look, now we got it. Okay. And so I'm going to dust off the excess, and I'm really dusting. Oh, you know what I just did? Look at my pretty, yep. Yeah, I'm going to set that aside so I don't get more glitter in there. This is the way I roll. I contaminate things really bad because I'm not paying attention, and I just brush off all my glitter. All right, I'm going to dump some more of these out. And do exactly what I did on my thumb and just start coming in with globs wherever I want a star or a thicker, chunky. And when I'm quiet, it's because I'm concentrating. Okay, there we go. Grab my glitter grabber. I think I want just a piece. Oh, I don't know, those blue stars are really pretty. The reason I'm going for the blue stars is this other, the black dip has blue shimmer in it. And I really like to kind of, you know, complement things. So, that guy there, I sort of want a little chunk here. What did I don't think I picked up anything. I'm gonna go for this silver star. And put him here. And I'm gonna go for another blue over here. I might do 2. Do a silver and a blue. And a chunk. Maybe. If I can pick him up. Go. All right. I might add a chunk. I want a medium. This one. Over here. I kind of want, let me get, is there a bigger blue? Here's one. Come off my, there we go. Okay, so that's going to be my final look here. And I'm going to come back in and just start globbing on the vase. Because I'm all about that base, right? Oh my goodness. I would like to say I'm not normally this weird, but that would be a lie. If you're watching these videos, you get a glimpse into the really randomness of Corey's brain. It is all connected, right? I said the word base. Can't help it if my mind automatically goes to a catchy little song from the past. Those little silver stars wanting to go rogue on me. All right. I've filled in all my spots. And that is mostly dry. I guess I can finish up my chunky nails here, a full nail of this dip. This dip is called Estrella, and it's by Everly Nails. It was this past month's one of the colors from the sub bag. So if you're looking for a good sub bag, she always has really fantastic ones. I get the full, I forget what the name of it is, but the one that has, comes with a lotion, which is kind of fun. All right, so I am, if you couldn't tell, a little particular, well, shoot, here, on how my glitters come out, right? Like I kind of want specific ones in specific spots. So since there's that giant blue star, I'm gonna add extra base, and I'm gonna pick up that giant blue star, and I'm gonna stick him right where I want him, because chances are he would not go there on his own. Okay, what I did here is I shook all those to the top so that it kind of brings them up, and then I'm gonna just lay my nail in, and I'm pressing down as I do that to kind of grab those glitters. And then I'm using my finger to kind of press those down so they adhere. I'm going to add a little bit of base there to this little silver star because I want it to stay. And I think that was the only one that was loose. Okay, so now I'm going to check my cuticle line. It seemed like it was pretty clear. Yep. Yep. Okay. Press those back down because I moved them a little. All right, and then I'm just not going to touch it till it completely dries. There's one that's loose, but I don't need it. But you can see I've got a nice full coverage. These that are hanging off, I'll trim with my cuticle nippers so that they won't be hanging off. Or I sometimes just file them because they're on the edge and I don't care if they lose their color. Depends on how lazy I'm feeling. Okay. So again, on this pinky I'm not as, although I do sort of want that purple. I will sometimes like try to maneuver them. I could go there. Okay, that's where I'm gonna go. I kind of look and see where the glitter is that I really want on there, and I aim for that spot. Sometimes I hit it, sometimes I don't. All right. I don't know if that guy will stick for me or not. I think it's okay. I'm gonna glue that purple star a little bit with some base and move that one. All right. I think I like that coverage, so I'm gonna just go in with my cuticle cleaner. Look, we have our glitter grabber and our cuticle cleaner. Look at me for alliteration. Again, the randomness. That one's loose. I'm gonna adhere that one a little better. Oh, they're all loose up here. There we go. So I'm literally just kind of dabbing that base on there, and it should sort of seep under and adhere really well. But the key is to let that dry before you brush it off, or you'll brush off some of those glitters. So this guy is dry enough that I can start doing clear. Now, here's a tip so that I don't contaminate my clear with the glitter. I like to use one of these little pipettes to suck the clear up and put it on. You can just go ahead and dip it all in, and I do that on occasion. Again, it just depends on how lazy I'm feeling. But often, if I'm trying to keep my clear without any glitter contamination. On the first coat over my glitters, I will do the pipette. It doesn't always happen. So often my clear is contaminated, but I just refilled this jar, so it's actually pretty clear. There's not any glitter in it that I can see, at least. And so I'm just going to pour over pretty good. I'm going to do that. So here's a little, yeah, it looks pretty. So you can see it's not super smooth. Let me dust off that excess. Yeah, you can see that it's covered. It's not real smooth. So if I were to buff on this, I would actually end up taking some of this color off. There is a really big low spot right here. So I'm going to come in again with my base liquid and try to fill that in so that I have a more even coverage. The liquids that I use, I always make sure I get sort of the self-leveling ones. So that makes it a little easier. But again, just want to try to even it all out. And you may be wondering, won't that make them thick? The answer is yes. Yes, it will. I don't mind my nails thick. I'm really rough on them, and I think I mean, obviously the thickness helps them to not break. So I don't know, I just live with the thickness. I do work hard to shape them. So I think there's a difference between, like, you know, well-shaped with a really nice apex, thicker nail, and one that is thick and lumpy. Like, nobody wants thick and lumpy, so as you file and shape, just try to file in such a way that you keep your apex. And if you're wondering what an apex is, that is the natural curve of your nail. So, you know, your nail, we'll do this one, you know, it has this, it's a curvature to it. Anyway, that's your apex. All right. That one's very lumpy as well, so we'll go back in. I am probably not doing another dip of clear on them. Unless, so after I activate, as I start to file, if there's holes, sometimes you'll notice literally just holes in the dip when you're working with these chunkier glitters. If that happens, what I typically will do is just add some dip, the liquid, a little clear, and just like jab it into the hole to fill it in. Anyway, I do that sometimes. These stars are sitting pretty high on my nail. You can maybe see. I don't know how well that comes in on the camera. Anyway, I think because of that, I'm gonna go and dip that liquid to try to give it more oomph. Yeah, I'm gonna let that one dry a little bit. So, on the glitter, I'm gonna cap my clear so I don't dust off all this glitter into there. But these are stuck on. I'm wiping really hard, and you can see they're on there pretty good. I think that one's dry. I think it is. Dry-ish. I'm noticing there's not a lot of blue on that one, but I'm not going to add more because it's okay. So I'm going to come in, and on these full glitter nails, you notice I use a lot of base because I'm trying to get it to level into the divots and the holes that happen between the glitter. And you know, I'm going to kind of stab at it too so that that liquid goes down in there. Good. And I often have like weird chunkiness around the edges, so I'm paying a lot of attention there. Okay. And I should pipe it so I don't contaminate. Oops. I squeezed, but I didn't let go. Okay. That is decently covered. I'm going to do the same thing on this one. Try to fill in all of the gaps and the holes. Right. If you don't have one of these little pipettes, I would just use like a, you can get a plastic spoon, you can use a swatch stick, whatever you have to scoop and pour over is fine. And if you don't want to do that, then just dip it in and call it good. I do that sometimes. All right, so on this one, because it's relatively flat, you can see I just dusted off a little bit of that excess powder. I just did it real light because it's not yet dry. I'm actually going to come in with another coat, yes, Corey, another coat of dip liquid, and I'm going to paint it over. This was a trick that I wish I could remember who it was. So if it's you, thank you for sharing this trip, oh boy. It helps get a nice clear encapsulation. Everly's clear is super clear, so I don't often, as long as I dust off that excess really well, I don't get bubbles. But this, I don't know, it just seems like it's even smoother than doing a dip of clear over. Now, when I'm going to dip that one a little. When I have something that's a little more chunky, like sticking up, then I kind of need that extra powder to fill in. But since those were decently smooth on top, doing that trick, it works pretty well. So on this guy and my thumb, what I'm doing right now is kind of trying to manipulate that powder a little bit to flatten out. Because I still have some pretty significant lumps, and I'm worried that when I start to file, I'm going to get to the color of those stars, and then I'll be really sad because they'll all be silver stars. Not that there's anything wrong with silver stars. I just want blue stars. So the thumb is actually feeling pretty good. I feel like I can safely buff that. But I am a little bit worried about this one. Actually, as I push on that though, it does seem like it's a little better. I might lose the color off of this blue one because he's pretty raised. But I don't want just a ridiculously thick nail. That's my concern. So we're gonna go with that. And I'm I'm going to encapsulate this too so I don't lose any of that blue shimmer. Sometimes you can, when you buff a color that has shimmer, you can, if it's colored, usually shimmer I found is like silver or like a holographic. But sometimes you can actually take the color off, and I don't want to lose my blue. I like the blue. This color is JMP. I call it Jump. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be Jump. That's what I call it, JMP Jump, and it's by Everly as well. All of these are Everly that I'm using. There we go. So that way, when I buff and file and buff, I don't lose my blue color because I thought it was pretty. All right, so that is how I would apply, next I'm going to activate and then buff, file and buff to make them smooth and to shape them. I'm going to give these a couple minutes to finish drying, but then I'll just buff over, file over them. And I will post pictures of this mani, the final mani, on my Instagram page, Corey.nails, so you can look for it there.